Welcome, welcome, welcome to Romance Book Monsters. It's your girl Lollipop here with my co-host Kitty Boom.
Hello.
And today we have a really interesting topic that I love so much. We're going to talk about a few of our favorite crazy exes books. Because how many times have you read a novel and you were like, oh my God, this man is crazy or this person is crazy. And how could they be so nuts? Like, I just don't get it. I don't understand. It's so good. The revenge is always great, So we're going to talk today about a few of our favorite crazy exes book. So I will kick it off first. My first book is called Redemption by Wright. So picture this. You have Yoshiro, who escaped a career of crime with the mafia that killed his family, right? So it's been 5 years since he's been out of that life. He's home Christmas. Oh, this is a Christmas book too. So it's like a double whammy. And he's, on his property, alone. And then he meets Ebony and her kids, whose car crashes during a snowstorm. And now Ebony and her kids have been on the run from her husband for 3 years because the man is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So they have literally been on the run. And somehow, some kind of way, he kept finding them. So anyway, obviously, he invites them in, to stay safe while, all this stuff is going down. And obviously Yoshiro's like, Yakuza anyone? I mean, come on now. I'm not afraid of your ex. Let's keep this moving. So obviously, push comes to shove, they both have their own issues. They both have things that they have to get over. Obviously, Ebony was like, I'm never bringing another man in her and her children's life again because of what she had to deal with her husband. Not to ruin anything, obviously, it's romance, happily ever after. Obviously, Yoshiro holds it down. He takes care of her ex-husband, the boogie monster, however you want to call it. It was good. Oh, and he also, knows how to get rid of a body very well. So it was great. It was a bad guy turned good, I guess you could say. So what about you? What's your first?
Okay. Now, first I must qualify when we say crazy ex, crazy can mean either abusive or just really, really ridiculous behavior. Okay,
Yes, ridiculous behavior. Yes, too.
so for my first one, it's Broken by Jordan Silver. So, it's two characters, Carrie Ann and Kyle. So Carrie Ann married like her high school sweetheart, like straight out of high school. And, he went off to college while she stayed home and worked. And then, he eventually went to med school. And again, like she held everything down at home. She was the one that worked and like supported him through school and paid all the bills and whatnot. And so, he became a doctor and lost his mind. He actually kind of got, his pride hurt that she was like such a hard worker that, she scrimped and saved and worked hard to put him through med school. And now, she's still like supporting him as he works through residency. And she had a best friend who turned out not to be a so best friend, who was like whispering in his ear, how, he should be able to do what he wants and blah, blah, blah. And eventually the best friend gets pregnant by her husband.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Trifle.
So the husband decides to leave Carrie Ann for the best friend because of the baby. And he completely like takes her for a ride in the divorce. He hid his assets. She really couldn't afford a good lawyer. So he got away with giving her the bare minimum, even though she was the one that supported him through med school, college, all of that. He completely screwed her over. So this motorcycle guy comes to town to visit his grandpa, who's like alone after his wife has died, and he like crosses paths with her. So he's like the bad boy biker, and she catches his eye, so he starts to court her. Unbeknownst to her at the time, he's like this multi millionaire. He's worth like $750 million.
Mm-hmm.
Was the amount that they listed. And so the husband is just appalled that, somebody else is now paying what he considers his wife attention. So Yes. So he comes around trying to convince her to leave this guy alone. He's like, "Oh, I'll give you more alimony if you dump him. I'll put you in a new apartment." And then the best friend is now jealous that even though she has a husband, it seems like her old friend is now upgraded and she's going to get even better than she had before. And so
So
now
that best friend was never a friend. She was an opportunist. She was
never a
waiting for her
friend.
opportunity.
Come to find out, the girl had been jealous of her since like grade school because like everybody loved her. She was so sweet and so nice and such a hard worker. And her parents always went on and on about how good she was and how the friend should be more like her. So she never had good intentions for the girl. And so
Right.
the ex best friend comes on to the current boyfriend too. But he,
Did
of
she have
course,
a baby by now?
yes. So he swats her away. And so then, like, they both kind of tag team. Now, the ex husband and the new wife, they had gotten her kind of banished from her old friend group. So she didn't have any more friends in her small town. And she went from like living in this big house to living in this rundown apartment, like in a bad side of town. They really just screwed her over. But they get theirs because come to find out the baby that the best friend had was not his baby. Was not his baby.
So he
The
divorces her.
best friend had been sleeping with her best friend's husband.
So she was a hoe from jump.
Yes, from jump. And the baby was starting to look like her friend's husband. And also, the guy fixed it so they got another judge and lawyer to look at the divorce case and they overturned everything. Come to find out, he had hid like so much money from her and had lied about a bunch of other stuff. So she got half of what he had. He actually had to sell their house and give her half of the proceeds.
Hell yeah.
They basically ran him out of town and she ends up living like in the biggest house in the community,
I know
being
that's
like
right.
the head girl now. So it worked out really well for her.
I might have to read this book. So
Yeah.
good at the same time.
Kindle Unlimited.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up after this. So my second book is Aaron's Patience by Tiffany Patterson. Let me tell you how much I love this book. I love this book so much I must read it about 4, 5, 6, 10 times. It's one of them that I parade out a couple times a year when I'm in the mood. It starts me off with the whole Townsend series, right? I start with Aaron and then I'm like, okay, I need to read the next brothers. I gotta read Carter. I gotta read Jacob. You know what I'm saying? That's how it goes down the rabbit hole. And then I gotta read the parents. like she just got me going. And now that they got the Townsend spinoff, now I'll be like, okay, I gotta read the cousins now.
I'm so waiting for the rest of that series to be
I
released.
can't wait for the
I
cousins.
love the first book.
So I need to reread it. But anyway, so Patience has known Aaron, since she knew of him as a kid or whatever. But anyway, so Aaron is he's the head of a multi-billion-dollar company. Patience, he met her in the past. They had a little situation. She ended up getting pregnant. He didn't know, and she wanted to keep it that way. But then her father dies, or her father's ill. I shouldn't say he dies. He was ill. So she came to visit him at the hospital. And yeah, so Aaron ends up seeing the kids. So yeah, then he, of course, uses all his money and power to get her to be with him. But she had, after several years after Aaron, she had met this one guy. No, sorry. So the guy who is crazy was never an ex. He was not an ex. He was just nuts. So when she and Aaron were dating, his parents owned the bookstore. And she would go to the bookstore And sometimes Aaron would come pick her up. So he was there at the bookstore and he would help her out. And he seemed like a nice kid, you know, like normal. Like, you know how people have they more than one face. Well, he put his normal face on. So after her and Aaron had broke up and she moved across country, he followed her. And then when she finally got around to dating again, dude killed the dude and kept the dude's head. Like, he's nuts. So she thought the dude that she slept with just dipped on her. Like, she was dating him. They slept together once and she thought he dipped on her. Like, he just never called her again. She couldn't get in touch with him. So she thought, you know, he, whatever, I'm not going to chase no man. He wasn't that great anyway. Come to find out, dude dead. Like, he killed him. The hell's going on? How you going to be killing? Like, talk about stalker to the next level. Like, you can't get more next level stalker than killing people. And the person she didn't even remember who he was. Like, he was just some rando, basically. Because she had a man when she met him. It wasn't like she was single. I was just like, this dude is nuts. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Dead serious.
He was crazy.
I was happy when he got his. Listen, the Townsends are not to be messed with. Okay, let's just leave it at that. I want to save the comeuppance.
Right.
For you to read. But the Townsends are not. Oh, Aaron is not the one. I need an Aaron. Not as crazy as Aaron to that level. Maybe if you mix a little Aaron and Felix and Hank and sprinkle all the little fairy dust together, it would be good.
Yeah.
Aaron just sexy. This is something that's just sexy about the way she wrote the character. But
he reeks of I get stuff done.
Goes in and out the bedroom. Listen, he gets stuff done so much that if you continue in this, then she give him like 3 sets of twins, like
2 sets of twins and then a single.
Yeah, I mean, like,
yeah.
Come on now. He gets stuff done more than one way, you know what I'm saying? So Kitty, what's your next book, girl?
My next book is Until Lily by Aurora Reynolds. Okay, this is a part of the Untold series, which follows it's like a 5-brother series, and then it breaks off into the next generations, which is the children of those brothers. But this one is Cash Mason. He is like one of the brothers, and Lily Donovan. So they meet in a coffee shop, and it's like at first sight. And so, you know, he takes her number and he calls her, and they live like 2 hours away because she's in college, like somewhere else, and he like lives closer to his family. So, you know, he drives a different distance to meet her. And so they're dating for like 3-4 weeks and they sleep together. And the next day, his ex-girlfriend tells him that she is pregnant. And if he does not, you know, start to be with her, she's going to abort his baby. So he dumps Lily like via text message, like, you know, I can't be with you anymore, blah, blah, blah. But then Lily finds out that she's pregnant like a week after that. So yes, you'll find out later in the book that the reason both of them got pregnant when he's a staunch condom user is because the first baby mother, she poked holes in all of his condoms, and he was using condoms from the same stash, you know.
Trifling.
So that's how they both got pregnant, when he was using condoms, because she done tampered with.
So it was his baby.
Yeah, it was his baby. So fast forward, like, you know, 3 years later, like, you know, the girl, she had been making his life like miserable. So he had like left her the year before, even though like she had this baby on purpose, like she didn't want to do anything with the baby. So Cash got full custody of the son, and they're like going to this jump place, and he is like shocked to see this little girl that looks just like his little boy with Lily, who he hasn't seen in all these years. And, you know, she tells him that, you know, she texts him that she was pregnant, and she got a response back saying that, you know, you told me to abort the baby, that you didn't want the baby. But it was the ex-wife that did it. So the crazy person in the story is definitely the ex-wife. Because let me tell you the stuff that she did to Lily. Okay, first, she attacked Lily at work. Lily is like a kindergarten teacher. And she attacks her in her car at work and breaks her glass out. And then, like, the second incident, she She got Lily fired. She went to the kindergarten. She went inside the school, like making a fuss in front of the little bitty kids. And then she talks to the principal and tells the principal that, Lily's a home wrecker and she like destroyed her marriage. And because the principal is like a bitter Betty whose husband has left her, she sides with this stranger and Lily loses her job.
I hope she sues.
And then she gets Lily arrested. She steals this old woman's checks and she goes to a check cashing place and she pretends like she's Lily and signs her name on the check. So it looks like Lily has been committing check fraud and Lily ends up getting put in jail for it. And they have to like go and search cameras and all this to get her free before they figure out that, it was the ex-wife that was doing it all along. And then the final episode, she's like, no, she's gonna get this dude back, and this daughter is not his child, only the son is his child. So she kidnaps the daughter and she's gonna sell the daughter to like a sex trafficker.
Are you serious?
Yes.
How was she not arrested after the fraud charges? I don't understand. Like, how was she not already in jail?
I don't remember quite right now how she did end up in jail for the cash check thing, but she did not. So she stole the girl. Thank God, the girl got away. Like, you'll have to read the book to like get the complete story of how, they were able to rescue the little daughter. She was only like 4 or 5 years old when she like kidnapped her too, but she ends up like being put away for like years and years and years. But she was crazy.
Absolutely. What is wrong with people?
And I mean, he had divorced her like 2 years before. And she's doing all this stuff.
You got to be so careful.
You do.
You can't trust people around your condoms or your blood, your birth control
pills. Yeah.
You can't. Nah. Mm-mm. That's why you meet up with people at hotels. You ain't coming in my house. I don't trust you. You ain't coming around my stuff. You can't mess with my judge. And matter of fact, I'm gonna bring that one condom, a new fresh condom obviously you should anyway, but you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not bringing a box and putting it on the counter for you to have opportunity to mess with it. You know what I'm saying?
Break out the magnifying glass.
Exactly. I'm like, is there air in this? There's no air in this. If there's no air in it, that means it's been punctured. Like, she took a needle and did tap, 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 tap through it. But that means there's no air in the package, yeah. Homie.
I mean, what are the odds?
You knew your ex-girlfriend was crazy. That's why you broke up with her.
Even the crazier thing, in a previous book, one of the other girlfriends of his brothers had heard her say that she was going to trap one of the brothers. And somehow this message was like ignored.
Hoes doing hoe things.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my last book is Motorcycle Man by Kristen Ashley. I love Kristen Ashley. I love her MC type books. So with this particular one, it's also another ex-wife who was crazy. So we have Tack, this is part of the Dream Man series. This is book number 4. So we met Tack from book 1, I believe. And he has a rule. No, you don't employ somebody you slept with. So he learned that he spent the last night in bed with his new office manager. So he fires her. And she's like, can't fire me. Like, I didn't do nothing. It's not my fault. I didn't know you was my new boss. So he was like, okay, fine. You can keep the job, but we can't have no more sex. Well, obviously that did not last. At all. So Tack has teenagers with his crazy ex-wife, and the fact that his kids are teenagers and she is so trifling. I'm like, this man has not been in a serious relationship since this woman. So it's been some years because his kids are teenagers. And I'm not talking about like no 13, 14. They're like teenagers. They're like almost grown. And this heifer was trifling as hell. And I'm just like, Why? Why? You got somebody. You don't want him. You just don't want him to have somebody else.
Right.
Like, come on now. You don't want him. Let's just be real.
Oh, no, 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 no. May I interject? Remember, it wasn't that she didn't want him, it's that she was so jealous of the kids
Yeah, because the
and that
kids
he
got to spend
changed
time with
his
him.
lifestyle
Yeah,
that she stepped out.
that's true. He loved the kids too much.
Yeah.
How you mad because your man loved your kids? And yeah, I guess she wasn't getting enough love. I guess.
Right.
This is why you gotta be careful who you have kids with. You gotta be real careful because and this is not even the first story like this. I've read several stories where one parent or the ex was jealous of the fact that their husband loved their children.
Well, you paid too much attention to them.
Or they would abuse their children because the husband loved them, or in their mind perceive that the husband loves the children more than they love them. And I'm just like, that sounds like a mental illness. That's not logical. Like, most people would love their significant other to love their children.
Right?
Like, how many times that people talk about, like, you talk about deadbeat dads, deadbeat moms, and you have someone who actually love his kids and you got a problem with it. People crazy.
Yeah, she was crazy.
I just can't. And it just, there's like, we could do a whole video on parents like this and stories, like, because it's actually a trope at this point, because I've read it enough for it to be a trope. And as we talk about crazy exes or stalkers who aren't really exes but they crazy and they fought, it's like, it is a trope. And but it's real. It's like we see it on the news, we hear it on TV, we read articles about it, and you're just like, how could this be real? But we know it is. How many famous people have stalkers? How many famous people? We have famous people who've been killed by their stalkers. And you're like, how is this even real? I thought it was just entertainment, but no, nothing is strange. Real life is way worse than fiction.
Yeah.
So, Kitty, what's your last book?
After you gave that one as your last one, I wish I had covered Brock from, what was it, Man?
Yes.
But I didn't. I did When He Was Dark by Suzanne Wright. So this is Bree Dwyer and Alex Devereaux. They are shifters, and she has a crazy mate. So in this series, either you everybody has a destined mate, and sometimes they don't meet them, and they end up like permanently attaching themselves to someone else. But Bree actually met her destined mate when she was like 12 or so, but her mate is a sociopath. So she didn't want him as her mate. Like, he's so crazy. He was like, told her when she was a child, basically, I don't know if I should kill you or let you live.
Right?
He was nuts. So he disappears. Like, everybody is afraid of him because he's like, he's crazy. Like, he's almost like a serial killer of like the shifter world. And so someone was looking for him. So they are now like trying to force Bree to like contact them because they want to find her destined mate, because he like kidnapped the child of another alpha. So they're like after her. So her whole pack starts to like protect her to keep her from being kidnapped. And they think that everybody basically thinks that the mate is dead, but she doesn't think he's dead, and the mother doesn't think he's dead, but he has disappeared and kind of like not wanted to have a mate or be attached to anyone. But comes to find out, like, he has been like a part of their pack for years, and nobody knew because he has a twin brother who he shares a scent with and everything. And they kind of realized later on that he killed the twin brother years ago, and he's like taking his place. And he's been around the whole time, and he starts stalking her himself. And then he tries to kill who she's interested in because she actually ends up with his cousin. But it's an interesting story. Like
It's
his
a good
mother
story.
is
It was
like
good.
completely trifling, and she wants her to dedicate her singlehood to like waiting for her crazy son. So
No. You know,
it was crazy.
I almost brought up The Favor because that ex was stupid too. The one who,
Yeah,
I was like, how you gonna threaten to release sex tape basically, or like
right.
of this woman because y'all ain't together no more. Like, come on now. But I was this close to using The Favor, but I didn't. But I love Suzanne Wright. She likes
Yes,
to
When
cook.
He Was Bad was actually one of my best favorites out of her Schiffer series.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last release too. I think a new one is coming next month.
Oh, I'm so excited. I
Yeah.
can't wait. I'll be looking at the countdown for her new books. I'm like, when
Hmm.
is it coming? Soon. She has a few books coming this year, I think. So I'm very excited.
And I think the next one next month is like the one that I'm like most focused on.
Mm-hmm.
You know how I get it's like some lines like I'm really waiting for from an author, but other parts of their lines like not so much.
Nah, I love because we're getting um another vampire, another demon, and another shifter, I believe.
Yes.
So I'm excited about all of them. I love the demons, I love the vampires, and I love the shifters. So
I love the demons when it was about the main couple.
you're so funny.
Yeah.
I mean,
But that is all that I have for
well, the
today.
vampires, we're gonna get another one for the main couple, which is great because we already got two, and now we're gonna get another one after a couple more books. We get
That
another.
one I want.
Hmm. I really enjoy. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. Obviously, we can continue talking. There's many, 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 many crazy, trifling, nuts.
No
I don't even know
good.
no good exes or stalkers books. So please leave your favorite in the comments. Always remember, like, subscribe, share. If there's any videos you think is really fun or that any of your friends would like, please share. We appreciate you guys. And talk to you soon. Enjoy.
See you later.